Mario Sports Mix is the first game in a probable long series. Many times before, Nintendo has delivered on sports titles and has made strong franchises out of them. Unfortunately, Mario Sports Mix probably won't be one of these titles. Many essential items need to be improved before it can be considered another strong title for Nintendo. Mario Sports Mix has decent graphics, but many times left me feeling that certain elements could have looked clearer. Whether it be for a better frame rate or due to lack of time for development, there must have been a display of graphics. Another disappointment was the environments. Many looked too basic and didn't have enough detail. There are many different environments present in the game. The characters themselves looked good, but at times looked out of place in the environment. Aside from the characters and environments, there were effects which looked good, but there are simply not enough of them. The audio has a very familiar Mario sound. The sound effects also sounded very good, whether it be a slapshot, a spike, or a dunk. They all sounded realistic. One problem was the audio tends to be too repetitive. An example being the menu music, which could have been changed to incorporate a couple different songs. Them failing to do so caused the menu song to become very repetitive and annoying. One thing was good was the soundtrack, which changed when the environment changed. There are a lot of negative points which popped out at me, but it still was a decent base to continue on from. Aiming tends to be off in most cases, especially while playing hockey. It's better to play without the nunchuck. The ability to bring in your own Mii into the game is a great touch. Expert mode is still like all the previous Nintendo games, not fair and pretty much impossible. Party mode mini games are somewhat fun, but tend to be limited and don't utilize the sport factor so much. Some of the mini games such as volleyball felt like they were given more time while being developed. Controls were usually simple, but at times didn't make sense, especially with the nunchuck. Playing with other people is fun, just like any other Mario game. There are many different areas / courts which have their own special quirks. This gives the game some more depth and unpredictability. Another negative point was that there was no real background story for each tournament. They were just a standout knockout tournament. Artificial intelligence is simply terrible, and some difficult settings make the game very frustrating. For some of the other sports, volleyball, hockey, and dodgeball, you must turn the difficulty to hard if you actually want a challenge. Basketball was the one sport which could have been reworked and retooled. Finally, all the characters had special abilities and had their own strengths and weaknesses. Connecting to play online was simply just a pain in the ass. Sometimes I ended up being disconnected while trying to play online with another person. There were no party games online, which is extremely disappointing. Once I actually got connected though, the game did run really smoothly for me. Another negative point was the ability to only play with 2 to 3 players online.
There were just not enough different minigames for the money you have to pay. Even though a lot of the other sports titles have individual titles already, there should have been more sports added like soccer and baseball. The tournament mode is fairly well done, it made me feel like more could have been done with it. As you advance to the tournament and get to the final tournament, you are able to go back and play through all the tournaments again on a hard difficulty. The only negative part about this is that they're the same tournaments. Also, you can never have more than 3 players in a sport. This made no sense because most sports could have utilized 4 players. One positive point was you can unlock special characters once you advance to the tournaments. Even though there were some positive points within the game, it still wasn't enough to warrant a buy in my opinion. Rent at best and wait for the sequel. Mario Sports Mix is a great party game, but that's it. It could have been a great game if it had fixed some of the issues surrounding it, for example the controls and the multiplayer / co-op. Besides all the negative points, it's still a game that can be joined by you and your friends. Still isn't a stellar game like Mario Party, but it provides you with a unique sporting experience. Unique being the keyword.